Cab companies force them to cheat passengers by taking them the long way, called long hauling. Now, a former cab company supervisor has come forward, revealing that his company not only told drivers to do it, they taught them how. The I-Team has covered the long hauling issue for years. George Knapp is here with this disturbing new development.
Well, every single day we get calls and emails from drivers saying they're forced to take passengers on the long route or risk being fired. Current and former taxi cab cops have told us the same story for the past 3 years, adding that their agency won't enforce the laws because long hauling means millions of dollars a year to the taxi companies, even though it's illegal. And now we're hearing it from a taxi insider who says he was fired after he told his drivers to stop stealing from the passengers.
Through the years, they've learned to call out the honest drivers, and that has left them with a big pot of long-hauling drivers.
Gary Gubitz remembers a time not that long ago when Las Vegas taxi drivers could make an honest living without resorting to long hauling. That is, taking passengers the long way in order to jack up the fare. Today, he says, it's not only allowed, it is vigorously encouraged by some cab companies, including his former employer, Desert Cab. Gubitz leveled that accusation in a lawsuit filed against Desert.
They encourage it because the company's making extra money. If a good, honest driver is coming in with $300 and a dishonest driver is coming in with $600, the company's bringing in twice the amount of revenue. So the more the merrier, in their opinion, whether it's breaking the law or not.
The most common starting point is the airport. As the I-Team learned during undercover cab rides, drivers almost always head for the airport tunnel and onto the freeway to get to the Strip, adding several dollars to a typical fare. They rarely ask the passenger for the okay to take the longer route. It happens hundreds of times a day, ripping off tourists and locals alike for millions of dollars every year. Gubitz says every driver knows about it.
We would hear they picked a person up at the airport and they were going to the Flamingo, and they went through the tunnel, down the 215 to Decatur, up Decatur to Tropicana, over to the I-15, and north to Flamingo.
After 10 years in the business, he started getting grief at work.
He made a point to tell his drivers that they would not be permitted to do that, and that they should not long haul their passengers. And in fact, we believe, our theory of the case, is that what happened to him, his ultimate termination, was specifically because he told his drivers not to long haul their passengers.
This isn't the first time attorney Adam Graff has heard stories about widespread long hauling, especially within Desert Cab. Another of his clients is Scott Lewis, the former airport control officer for the state taxi authority, who told the I-Team back in 2008 he was fired specifically because he continued to write citations to drivers who long hauled out of the airport. Lewis says his former enforcement chief, Joe Dahlia, warned him that he would be terminated if he wrote another ticket to a Desert Cab. Lewis is still fighting to get his job back and has filed a civil suit against the TA, which he says is in the pocket of the taxi industry.
It is not a coincidence that the drivers, if you speak to them, they would tell you that that's been common practice for many years now, nor would it be uncommon if you spoke to the officers of the Taxi Cab Authority. And I believe it goes back to the leadership at the TA and the fact that the state is continuously doing everything they can within their powers to stop my story, and your story, and the truth.
Protecting the riding public.
The brand new chairwoman of the board, which oversees the taxi authority, says long hauling is a major concern. Her proposal is to ask the legislature to increase fines on drivers who get caught.
Well, I think if you take the profit out of the act, then you help remove the motive, and that's where we'd like to start. That's where I would like to start.
Increasing the fines on drivers will do very little to stop long hauling without active enforcement. In the year leading up to July 2010, there were 26 million cab rides in Las Vegas, but only 149 drivers fined for long hauling. Scott Lewis says officers have been ordered to not write tickets, and the drivers know it.
It's all collusion. They're playing with each other.
Meaning the taxi authority is too friendly with the cab company.
Absolutely.
The real problem, according to this veteran cabbie, is that some companies, Desert in particular, pressure drivers to long haul. Those who don't measure up to the meter take of the long haulers get fired. He alleges Desert Cab teaches new drivers how to do it.
They have what they drivers refer to it as a cheater school. They're told if they want to keep their job, they have to long haul.
Some companies, the freest taxi cabs, for instance, make a big deal to their drivers about avoiding long hauling. Statistics on the TA website show a difference between Ace Cab, a freest company, and Desert Cab. The same number of rides, but Desert averages $3 more per ride, which translates into about $3,000 per cab. It's big money.
The general manager told me they're number one by far, and he was proud of telling me that they make millions and millions of dollars more than the second place cab company.
Desert Cab fired Gary Gubitz because he was involved in 2 traffic accidents. Gubitz says it was actually a wrongful termination. He's taking it to court. We made multiple calls to the attorney for the cab company and to the company itself, but did not get a reply, possibly because the matter is headed for litigation. If and when we hear from Desert, we'll be happy to air their comments. There are some pretty easy ways to deter long hauling, and they don't require an army of taxi cops, but the TA has shown no interest and probably won't unless the public gets involved in a big way. And for more information, a lot of links to material on our website, 8newsnow.com.
Other cities, you get in the cab and it tells you exactly what the fare is going to be to where you're going.
I mean, it's pretty simple. Put it in the back of the seat. People can read it. The approximate fare to your hotel won't do it.
Won't happen. Thank you, George.